So could this be the beginning of the end of car salesmen, slimy, markup driven, lying car salesmen? And I'm sorry to be so brutal because some of you are my friends. Some of you I bought cars from, and I like you because I will say this just to avoid the comments in the comments section that there are great salespeople out there. There are, and I've worked with them, honest, trustworthy. And I know some of you are like, no, there's not. They're all scummy. No, I have found them. I have rooted them out and found them. And I've bought cars from these people, and they've treated me amazingly. The problem is, by far, the bad ones way overshadow the good ones. And the problem in that industry is now for decades and decades and decades and decades, we have been put through the excruciating experience of walking into a car dealership with a desire or need to purchase a car, only to find ourselves in a 6 to 8 hour tour trying to get the deal done. From being harangued by the used car manager who takes your trade and hides it 4 blocks away in hopes that they can say that they're appraising it, and then you can't walk out. This happened with my parents when they were buying a car. They literally took their trade and banished it to an undisclosed location, and my dad had to literally get fist-pounding mad to get them to bring their car back when they wanted to walk from the deal. And they finally did, but my dad had to threaten to call the police to get his own car back. To spend hours negotiating $100 off a price or a markup, and then only to find yourself in the finance department with them jamming you with a warranty you don't need, or some insurance you don't need, or some prepaid services you probably don't need. Clear Shield, Clear Coat, Low Jack. A lot of this stuff, they've skipped finance, and now they just stick them on the car until you have to buy them for $5,000, $6,000. Now, we have a situation where Carvana has purchased a CDJR dealership, and I have my opinion on what this could mean for car salesmen and car dealers as we know them today. All right, let me jump over to the article here and show you what they've done. Carvana acquires Arizona dealership in bold move towards new car sales. But what dealership did they buy, you ask? Jerry Seiner, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Casa Grande, Arizona, which is a very small community of about 60 to 70,000 people. It's not a large area, so it's not a huge market for Carvana to go into, considering they're like a $13 billion revenue company. This is not some market that they were dying to get into. They couldn't resist because it could completely change their entire business plan. No, this is a very small town. Sure, it's a great town outside of Tempe, Arizona, which has another maybe 200,000 people. These are still relatively small communities, small areas. So this wasn't a market where they can go in there and suddenly change their entire financial dynamic at this gargantuan company. And I'm not going to get into all the problems that Carvana has had over the last few years and all the accusations and issues, because at this point, based on a well over $200 stock price, it appears that the CEO has turned the company in a direction where they have some real clarity of purpose and direction where they're headed, and will likely survive. So outside of the drama, this is what they're doing. And then we see them purchase a CDJR dealership. Now, this begs the question, do we think that they're going to, it says here, depart from their traditional business model and expand into new car sales? Or are they going to force a CDJR dealership into their business model? And is every car salesman sitting at that dealership on borrowed time? And I believe that there's no way. They've got billions of dollars invested in the Carvana business model, which frankly, is a very good business model when it's being ran properly. Same as CarMax. It's a very good business model, and one where the customer absolutely has a much, much better experience. Now, you can comment and say yours was bad, but I've bought several cars from CarMax, and I will tell you, even though I paid a little more for a used car than I could get somewhere else, I was able to get a real warranty, get the financing done at a reasonable interest rate, and literally drive down and spend less than 30 minutes to get the car. But right now at a CDJR dealership, you need to literally take therapy before you go there. When you go there, expect and plan that if you do buy a car, you're going to be there the entire day and possibly have to walk out 2 or 3 times, get angry, and need to take some antidepressants just to survive it, and maybe a bottle of liquor just to get through the night. And once you finally get through purchasing the car, you will then not have the excitement and the joy that you had anticipated and hoped to have. Instead, you have overwhelming regret because the process was so confusing and torturous that now you don't know if you did the right thing. You don't know if you got screwed, and you won't know for days or maybe weeks, but ultimately it's very likely you did get screwed. So that's why this model seems like one that could definitely upend traditional business. But CarMax did this before. CarMax did this already. They did it back in the 90s, and it didn't work out. And here in this article, they talk about that. Didn't work out, and they went back to the much higher profit used car sales, which would allow them to sell warranties and financing not related to the manufacturer, etc. But I gotta think at this point that there's more to this, that they bought a very small, and it does say in here, is this a test market? They're assuming that this is a test market that they're going into with a new car dealership. And I got to think it is as well, because they need to become more innovative. They need to accomplish what CarMax couldn't accomplish back in the 90s. And if they could transition their model to where I can go to the Carvana app and purchase a new Dodge, let's say Charger with a gas engine in it, hopefully a V8, and not have to be harangued by a car salesman for hours, and literally click a couple of buttons, have a no haggle price, get the financing, complete everything except for the purchase contract right there on the app, which is what you can do, which is how you do it with CarMax and Carvana, and then go to their dealership and get the car, or for under $1,000 additional, get that car delivered to my doorstep and finish the paperwork remotely or at that time. It seems way better and way easier. And frankly, I don't know about you all, I would pay more. I would pay more. The problem, what has happened with the CDJR dealerships and other brands, is not only do we have to go through the arduous, painful process, but they charge us way more. They want all these add-ons. They wanted markups. They wanted all this crap. Then they hammer you through a long process. They screw you around with your trade. With Carvana and CarMax, at least I can go on and literally put my VIN number in and find out what they're willing to pay me. And even if I don't like it, I can make that decision without spending 3 hours at a dealership being rope-a-doped. Makes sense? I would rather see an offer that's $1,000 or $2,000 lower, maybe with CarMax, Carvana, in which case I can make that decision and then go shop it with the dealerships. And most of the time, my experience has been, they will match or beat the CarMax or Carvana offers. But what I found is they'll oftentimes hit you a little lower, and then you come back. With my white Dodge Charger, that's what happened. I had Carvana, CarMax, and I think GimmeTheVin.com or something, and a couple others. And I said, listen, here's the highest one. I can sell it to them, or you guys do it, and we can do this deal today. Otherwise, I got to go through this process, and then I'll see you in a few weeks. And then maybe that car's still there, maybe it's not, or in another week. And they finally said, we'll give you that. Come on in. But I had to be strategic, and not everybody's doing that. Most people will roll into the dealership, and then the insanity begins for hours and hours. So I'm all in if they can do this. What will tell, and I will be watching very, very closely, I'm sure TK and Butter will as well, is what happens at that dealership. Does it go to an online model? Do they add a link or a page in their Carvana app that allows you to go to that CDJR dealership and purchase a car online without going into that dealership and dealing with the drama? Because I'll tell you right now, whether you like Carvana or not, They got the money. They got the market cap to be buying new car dealerships and franchise dealerships all over the country. And why did they start with CDJR? Well, I think they know that that is the most screwed up one out there, and they probably got this thing for pennies on the dollar, I'm going to assume, and it's a great opportunity for them to do a test plan and see how that goes, a test model and see how it goes. But what we're going to find out is, are the car salesmen still there in the next few weeks, few months? And if they do get rid of them, does this all go online? And do they start to do a test? And I will tell you, if they do, I'm here for it. I'm going to Casa Grande, Arizona to buy a car. And I will just buy it online when the six-pack comes out. They will have us all just go to the app. I can avoid the drama and less brain damage than to go buy a car at a dealership, spend all day, possibly 2 days, possibly have to walk out 2 or 3 times only to get rope-a-doped and screwed out of a ton of money. So if this happens, will we see them buying more CDJR dealerships? See, right now, with all the pressure on these CDJR dealerships, they're not making the money they used to make. And if they are not making the money they used to make, that means that there is a sale on CDJR dealerships, meaning Carvana can start picking these things up, probably just for the existing debt, if anything, just to get them to save them from going down in flames or bankruptcy. I'm sure there is so many of those opportunities out there. I'm not saying that's what happened with Jerry Sign or CDJR, but they are going to rapidly change the name to Casa Grande CDJR, according to this article, and I'm sure we're going to see a complete change. And if all those car salesmen get fired, I don't know about you all. I'm not here saying I like seeing people lose their jobs or livelihoods, but after what they've put us through, the absolute BS that we've gone through with these salespeople and these dealerships, I'm good with it. Hate to say it. And frankly, to all of them who are watching this, you'll be better off. Your integrity will fall back in line with the rest of the universe, and you will go get a job where you don't have to rip people off. You don't have to lie, cheat, and steal. You don't have to set people up in situations where there's no chance for them to ever compete with you and all your well-trained and heavily trained phraseology and negotiating strategies, only to leave a couple like my parents when they went and bought their car to get dragged through 10 hours at a dealership and not be able to get their car back. So I think you have it coming. You all made it happen. The salespeople caused this. And if Carvana does do this, and this is just pure speculation right now, I can't figure out any other reason why they would buy this thing, then folks, maybe we will see a beginning of the end of the ridiculous behavior at these dealerships. But of course, we're years down the road because it would take a lot to completely turn this thing over. But if they can turn it over a little bit at a time and succeed, I say we go buy a car from them and stop dealing with these insane dealerships. So with that, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. Why do you think they bought a CDJR dealership? It's not something they've ever done. Why would they do it? And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.